Hey there, Scott Yurgulevich here from Philadelphia Cricket Club. Let's take a look at your swing here from both angles. It's nice that we have this. We can kind of link them together and see what you've got going on. The first thing I notice is somehow at P1 or address, you have a lot of I don't want to say side, but a lot of shoulder tilt at P1. So when I see that, I'm going to guess when you take the club back, you're going to have a lack of shoulder tilt going back, and it's going to be somewhat flat. So let's see what it looks like. Let's kind of plot through some of this golf swing here. So I'm going to stop you at P2. All right, so at this position here, let's make a couple notes. We've got a shoulder plane that's really quite flat. Don't worry about the number that was on the screen there. Basically, it's very flat. Your shoulders are very parallel to the ground at this point. Your arms are very disconnected, and your left wrist is kind of bowing backwards this way. It's tough to see what that grip actually looks like. I don't want to make any assumptions, but it might be something that you need further investigation on. The grip seems a little goofy, but from what I see so far, you've got a lot of arm swing, a bowed left wrist, and the club's really deep on you at this point, but the arms have very little depth to them. So flat shoulders, not a lot of hand path depth, and the club's kind of moving too far inside. Let's see what else we got. All right, I'm going to stop you at P3. So you've got a lot of depth now. So you've went from no depth to a lot of depth, and this is where we're going to start to see some turn. But again, you still really don't have any tilt to your shoulders. Everything's very flat and level. One of the reasons we need some shoulder tilt is because that helps pitch the shaft upwards and create the height for you. So I want to make sure when you're making a backswing, your shoulders tilt so the arms can go up or like across your shoulders and get some height. Whereas what you're doing is they're going very flat and orbiting your body around the shoulders, which is going to make it really hard to create some leverage on the way down. So let's take it all the way up to the top. And I know you mentioned you had like maybe some hooks, but here we go. There's the top of your backswing right about, oh, wait, that's not it. There we go. So that should be hypothetically the top of your backswing. You add a couple extra pieces to it right about there. There we go. There's the top of your backswing. You mentioned some hooks. So you've got, kind of looks like the club is kind of like, again, like probably too deep into your palm. Left wrist is bowed. You got a really close club face at P4, top of your backswing. Some decent mechanics here, though. Like you actually have like the arms look like they kind of know what they're doing. Looks okay. Top of the backswing from the face on view. Again, you can kind of see the club face. It's tough, but it's super duper shot. I think that's, has to do with the left wrist, where the club is in your hand. And then let's see what you do on the way down. All right, I'm going to stop you right here. So, in the golf swing, I know we move around a little bit. Some people are more forward or more backwards. Unfortunately for you, you're already too forward. Like you're on top of it and then you're way past it. It's really hard to hit something that you're physically in front of. So if I was playing baseball and I was in front of the baseball when I was going to hit it, I'm probably not going to be very good or successful at that. So I think we need to learn how to move around a little bit differently, how the body moves, how we get here as opposed to here in the golf swing. So your upper center is too far forward at that point. And then let's see what the rest of this does. Okay, I'm going to stop you right here. So because the arms got disjointed on the way back, they come back down. Again, they're disjointed. The club's coming down really far from the inside with a shut face. And that's a recipe for hitting it off the planet to the left. So from this position, you don't have a whole lot of options here. You can either A, keep the face as open as you can on the way through the golf ball, and hopefully you hit like a push or a block and it goes kind of straight. And if the club face is even remotely shut, that thing is sniping hard left. So if I zoom in here, which I can't because it's zoomed in as much as I can, your trail arm is actually off your body here. You're trying to fix it as much as you can. It's it's not a great place to be. I think we need some structure in our arms. We need to learn how the arms work a little bit better than they currently are. And then I think we need to learn how to move appropriately to get a little leverage on the golf ball by not being on top of it and past it, but being on it and maybe even just a fraction behind it, like maybe our nose just a little bit behind it. So what are we going to do to fix this stuff? So that's a myriad of problems, but like let's take our time and figure out what to do. Number one, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just get your arms long on the way back. Just keep them long, keep them straighter. Don't let them bend as rapidly. So what you were doing at address to P2 was bending, folding, and getting the club too far in at this point. I want you to take that right arm and extend it. And I want you to feel like that right hand's more on top of the club. So it's going to be here as opposed to here. That right arm needs to stay longer for longer. So P1 to P2, longer arms. And from there, we're going to get the club moving more upwards. I would be working hard on the takeaway, making sure the hand path doesn't work out, and making sure it feels like the grip starts moving down the line or maybe even slightly in while the club stays slightly outside your hand. So don't get the club head in, keep it out in this direction. Some simple things we can do to work on that. I kind of like hook my finger on the club and kind of feel like I'm just taking that one hooked finger and dragging the club straight backwards. That's a good way to work on that. I would also squeeze my arms together a little bit while they're long to create some length. That would be really beneficial for you. Maybe I start my practice sessions doing that. And let's go through a little bit more. Now, in regards to you making a turn that's like more on an angle, the thing about golf is, we play this sport on a tilted angle. So if the ball is on the ground, I need to be bent over. So if I'm bent over, I need to make sure when I make a backswing, my shoulders will turn hypothetically at a 90 to my line or my posture, or some people will refer that to their spine angle. But if I turn and my shoulders go in a different angle compared to my spine, I'm going to have to start moving, raising up. My shoulders are going to get really flat. Some players can play golf from a very flat shoulder position. Think of players that have a very vertical swing that might be more upright at address, like a Freddie Couples. You take the club back, his shoulders wouldn't be as severely tilted. But then you've got players like Keegan Bradley who are bent over a lot and then have a lot of side bend and a lot of tilt to the shoulders. So looking at what you're doing, a simple fix for this is take a club, put it across your shoulders, and just practice pointing the butt end of the club downward more and start doing it sooner as opposed to later. It's really easy to fix it if the left shoulder feels like it goes more down than to the horizon. That's how I would fix that. And let's see if there's anything else we got to touch. All right, and the last piece is we've got to figure out how to get you to not be so far forward at impact. So I'm going to take this golf club. I'm going to put it right here between my feet. Let's see if I can get myself in frame here. There we go. We got this yellow golf club here in between both my feet. And what I want you to do is I want you to put both feet and kind of squeeze the club like this. And from right here, I want you to take your right foot and kind of step backwards. Kind of feel like I'm going to step, boom, step, no swing yet. And from right here, take the club back. So now you've kind of fully given yourself as big of a load as you can in terms of like turn, tilt, you're on an angle, but you've kind of felt like you kind of loaded into that trail instep, if you will. You didn't necessarily move, right? Your weight starts in the middle, you step, you start to turn, pivot, and from here, I want you to start moving your lower half forward. Now I want you to feel like your lower half goes past that yellow golf club on the ground while your head stays behind it. So it would look more like this. So you have some extension as opposed to flexion. This would be flexion, this would be bent over. So think of Caddyshack, the Haverkamps. Mrs. Haverkamp stayed in flexion the entire swing, topped the golf ball all the time, didn't hit it very well. That's a peach hun. So we need to make sure we are here, head and nose on top or behind the golf ball at impact, and then we are fully extended on the way through. So you could do that with this drill. You can do it by stepping, turning, and staying behind it. There's a lot of ways to do it. I just think you need some clear instruction on how to do it, and I think you'll get a lot better. Help take the path a little less in to out and like extremely like hook bias. I think you'll be in a good place. I think if that helps, let me know. Give me a holler if there's anything else I can do for you.